Hello, thank you very much for clicking on this video. I do appreciate it. As some of you know, I'm a huge Beatles fan, so in my top 10 there's gonna be a lot of Beatle influence, but then also not. And I've got a surprise in here which kind of surprised me as well, and I think it's going to be a bit controversial. I'll let you know when we get to it. In part 1 I went through all my honourable mentions, just albums which are absolutely great by themselves. I missed a couple, so I forgot to mention Dusk by The. Brilliant album. Dogs of Lust, I'm gonna guess you've heard that before, maybe you haven't. Go listen to Dogs of Lust. And Love is Stronger Than Death are my favourites on there. And also I have Kula Shaker's first album. Everybody got into Kula Shaker briefly with their old Tatvar and what was the other one? Govinda, do you remember them? Yeah. But you got on here, on this album, you got Hey Dude, where was the other one as well? Grateful When You're Dead, Jerry Was There, it's great, and Hollow Map, it's just an amazing album, so check that out if you haven't. Okay, let's get on with my top 10. This is in no particular order, so I'm just going to straight away, let's get the Beatles out of the way. Only one album. It has to be Abbey Road. This to me is their best album. Songs I like. This is difficult to just pick one. So I really do like Oh Darling, but then you've got everything from You Never Give Me Your Money onwards is just brilliant. The Long One, as it was called back in the day. This album actually is the album which spurred me to find better cover versions of Beatles songs. I have a series on this channel called Under the Covers. Hopefully you guys have seen it. If not, please do go check it out. And the reason why I did that was because the song Come Together I don't particularly like. I find it quite boring. I know it's a classic, but I found a better version of that, by far a better version of that, and that kind of spurred me to do my own little series on YouTube. So thank you John, for writing a song I don't like. I love Metallica. They've done some amazing albums. They've done some fucking awful albums. It might surprise you what my favourite Metallica album is. Keep in mind, you know, how good they are. But I love every single track off of Death Magnetic. Their other albums, there's always like one I go, it's a bit shit. But I love every song on this album. This album's a 10 out of 10 for me. Oh my God, it's hard to pick just one. That Was Just Your Life is great. Broken, Beaten, Scarred's great. The Day That Never Comes is great. All Nightmare Long is great. Cyanide's great. Oh my God, it's just an excellent album. And yeah, there you go. It's in my top 10. When I was making my top 10, this was the first album I actually reached for. Doesn't mean it's my number one, by the way, it's not. But I was trying to think of what albums I listened to the most, and I just love the Blues Brothers, the soundtrack to the movie. It is blinding. It is so good. There are so many good songs on this. So I think I'm going to have to go with Sweet Home Chicago as my absolute favourite, because it just goes on and on and on. And I do like it sometimes when songs go on, if they're good. But yeah, this album is, I adore it. It's so good. It's a good listen. It's a good listen. We're still not at my controversial pick, but maybe you guys will think this is controversial. Michael Jackson. When I was a kid, oh my God, I was obsessed with Michael Jackson. Absolutely obsessed. I didn't realise at the time I stood a chance with him, but I was so obsessed. I used to have a poster on my wall, and I remember my dad, to teach me a lesson one day, I used to have like posters of Michael Jackson all over my wall. And my dad, I don't know what I'd done something bad, probably bad school grades or something, but my dad just came upstairs and he just tore everything off the wall, and I was like, it was like slow motion. My absolute favourite Michael Jackson album is, and always will be, Off the Wall. It always, you know, they say, you know, music can transport you to somewhere back in time. This album, come on Michael, this album takes me right back into the back of my dad's car when he was going to play cricket, and I was forced to watch. Don't like cricket. Really difficult to pick a favourite song off this album, as they're all great. I think I've told you before, I'm a bit of a disco whore, and this is very disco-y. Girlfriend, by the way, written by Paul McCartney. It's on one of his albums. I can't remember which one. Is it London Town? I think it's London Town. This is a better version of Girlfriend. So if you're looking for a good cover of a Paul McCartney song, Girlfriend, this is it. This is so much better. Anyway, okay, for my next pick, I have cheated a little bit because it's a top 10 list, and this next pick is 2 albums. These were a huge part of my youth. I'm just going to show you them. Queen, Greatest Hits 1 and 2. You can forget 3, it was shit. For me, I don't know how anyone can not have Queen in their top 10 lists. But in the 70s, you had ELO, and everyone was like, I think even John Lennon said they were the son of the Beatles. And, you know, ELO were very close to that, I guess. But to me, Queen were always very beatnik to me. They got, you know, they came from a different era, the 70s, so there's a lot of rock. But the diversity in Queen songs is huge. So, I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, there you go. Well, you don't have to say anymore, do you? That's my favourite, Bohemian Rhapsody. There's so many good songs though. So many. So that's cheat. I know it's cheating, and I apologise, but there's two in one. Okay, we've hit the controversial pick of my top 10. In my honourable mentions, I said In Utero by Nirvana. This was originally in my top 10, but I swapped it out because the album I have here was going to be an honourable mention, but then I realised I've listened to this album way more than I have In Utero. You're not going to like this, but you know, whatever. Incesticide. I used to listen to this so much. Everyone was banging on about Nevermind all the time, and then, I mean, admittedly, they just, you know, throw away songs or whatever, but I listened to this album so much. There's so many good songs on it. Hairspray Queen, Aero Zeppelin, Big Long Now, Aneurysm. This is an amazing album, and please, you know, have your opinion. Put it in the comments. Maybe we can talk about it. Maybe you can change your mind. So, what do you think is better? What do you think is better? Because I went with Incesticide. It was a decision that surprised me. Let's put it that way. Please don't hurt me. So for my next pick, it's an album that when I first heard it, I didn't like it. I was just like, meh, okay, whatever. There's a hit on it, and I was like, yeah, I like that because I do. And I never listened to it after just hearing it the first time. I was like, oh, whatever. And then I listened to another album. This one. This isn't my top 10. But then I listened to this. This is Thrillington. And it's full of covers of the album Ram. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with this. Keep with me. On here, I really liked the cover of Smile Away. It's so good. I know this is Paul McCartney as well, by the way, but, you know, before you start going, this is a Paul McCartney album too. Yeah, I know. But I'm calling it a cover. So yeah, I really liked Smile Away. And so it made me just go back. And that whole Thrillington album made me appreciate this a hell of a lot more. This is my favourite Paul McCartney album. For a long time, it was my favourite album of all albums. It probably still is, if I'm honest. I really do love this album. What songs do I like? There's no track listing on this one, so hang on a second. I'm going to look at the track listing on the other one. I really do like Long Haired Lady, if I'm honest. There's a lot of good songs on here. Dear Boy, Ram On is good. They're all good. I mean, this is a 10 out of 10 album. There's not a bad song on here. But for some reason, I really do like Long Haired Lady. Probably because I can just about sing it. Okay, 2 more albums to go, and then we can go about our day. This next album is it's a masterpiece. I honestly believe it is a masterpiece. I think it's also a concept album about a journey across America. Just going to show you it. It's the Beach Boys' Smile. I'm kind of lost for words really, because I know that some people are going to go, that's shit. But to me, what Brian Wilson did with this, I know it sent him a bit crazy. Well, that they say this sent him crazy. It wasn't released in the 60s. It wasn't until much later we got this, and this is still unfinished. Like I say, Brian Wilson did finish it under his own name, so check that out as well. This is beautiful. My favourite song on here is probably Surf's Up, because I find it quite sad, but this does have good vibrations on it. It's just an amazing album, and I love it. Right, so not gonna lie, it's a different day now. I've been editing this video, and my last pick I had doubts with. I do love this album, but it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. So it's not in my top 10, even though it was my favourite album for a very long time. It's just a tough sell. I don't think anyone else would like it. I think it's very kind of niche to me. But this is it. It's called Fugu 1, and it's by Fugu. If you want to go check it out, please do. But yeah, in my original edit of this video, I was selling it hard. Now I'm just like, hey, go listen to that if you want. It's not in my top 10. But I did manage to choose another album to go into my top 10. It was actually one that, whilst I was editing this very video, I went, oh my god, I didn't mention, oh my god. So, yeah, I'll tell you what that is in a second. I just want a couple of more honourable mentions, just very quickly. I won't bore you with it. If you already made it this far, you're already bored. Soul Wax. Honourable mention. This album is amazing. I love most of the songs. The reason why I think this album is amazing is because I love how it sounds, and it's a very wanky thing to say, but I love how this sounds. I wish I could produce my music that I make to sound as good as this album. I love it. I do realise that before I put in Queen Greatest Hits 1 and 2, and I do realise that's very much like when Alan Partridge was asked what his favourite Beatles album was.
Tough one. I think I'd have to say the best of the Beatles.
I love Saturday Night Fever as well. This album is awesome. I don't think there's a song on here I don't actually like. I think I like them all. Even the long-winded instrumental ones. Brilliant album. Right, okay, so my official last pick for top 10, and one that I forgot I had, Mental. When I show you, you'll be like, how could you forget that? OK Computer by Radiohead. Of course, this has got to be in my top 10. What an amazing, amazing album. Very difficult to pick a favourite song from this album. Everybody knows Paranoid Android and Karma Police. The one I really like, that I really get immersed in, is actually Exit Music, brackets for a film. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to say that for now. All my favourites, by the way, in this whole video are currently my favourites of those albums. If you don't like my favourite on an album and you go, hey, what about this song, you mental case? I'm sorry. At the moment, it's not that one. And there you have it. That's my current top 10. This may change. I think I showed you about 22, 24 albums in all over these 2 videos. I know you guys are going to want to have a word with me about Incesticide. I'm still thinking at this point like, oh, why did I do that? But the fact remains, I listen to it the most. And please feel free in the comments to recommend some albums to me. I'm here to learn. I want to hear what you guys like. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time when I do another video about nothing.